Poor, deluded Raziel, did you somehow imagine you had the guile to change history on me? I'm the Time Streamer. I knew your every intention before you did, you imbecile.
One of the more interesting character tropes in fiction is that of the Chessmaster, that one person who inherits their title from their remarkable strategic ability to manipulate events. Through meticulous planning, the Chessmaster causes events to happen in such a way that the desired result is achieved. To them, the whole world is a game, and people are mere pawns. The best Chessmasters will have layers upon layers of misdirection, and will have contingency plans set up for almost every eventuality. By tugging at their strings of influence, they move their pieces into place that at first may seem harmless or pointless, until the trap is sprung. Moebius the Time Streamer from the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver series is a classic Chessmaster. As an ancient member of the Circle of Nine, he is intensely devious and conniving. His power stems from his guardianship over the Pillar of Time, which grants him control over time travel and its use in manipulating history. In the first Blood Omen game, he passes himself off as a wise hermit, known as the Oracle, giving benevolent and kind advice to all who seek it, including the fledgling vampire Kain, posing as this old, frail and harmless soothsayer. Moebius is easily able to trick Kain into doing his bidding. He carefully orchestrates Kain's every step, embroiling him in a human conflict between Ottmar's army of hope and the advancing legions of the Nemesis, who lays waste to Nosgoth. During the battle, Ottmar's army is wiped out, and Kain is forced to use one of Moebius's time-streaming devices to escape. He's taken back in history to a time before the Nemesis became a tyrant, when he was a young king who went by the name of William the Just. Kain seizes this opportunity to murder the beloved king before he can ravage Nosgoth, completely unaware that the entire affair was a setup from the start.
This one reckless act unravels the skein of history. The Nemesis never becomes the Nemesis. William dies a martyred saint. I, the vampire assassin, become the author of my own species' extinction, and Moebius profits from it all. I destroyed a tyrant only to create one far worse.
It is here we see the genius of one of Moebius's plans come to fruition. As a result of Kain's murder of the adored monarch, Moebius is able to rally the people and trigger a genocidal crusade against all vampires. In a brilliant move, Moebius's cutthroat mob completely decimates the vampire race, leaving Kain as the sole survivor of his breed. While it is immensely satisfying to watch Kain take his revenge upon the Time Guardian by beheading him, it's too little, too late, as the damage had already been done. Moebius had turned Kain into the unwitting catalyst of his own species' eradication. Only in the final few games in the series do we learn why Moebius has this profound hatred for the vampire race. But essentially, his loathing stems from the fact that as a human-born member of the Circle, he was abducted and possibly separated from his family. He was raised in the Vampire Citadel to one day be given their dark curse against his will. His desire to eradicate the vampires grew as he matured and started hearing a powerful voice claiming to be God. This elder god commanded Moebius to destroy the vampire race, as their immortality obstructed the flow of life and death. The thought of serving the god strengthened Moebius's resolve, because he truly believed with all his soul that by conspiring with his fellow guardian Mortanius to rebel against their vampire masters, he was ultimately doing the right thing. Moebius's twisted ideology meant that he could justify his cruel actions and lack of empathy under the pretense of serving his god's will. The antagonistic relationship between Moebius and Kain is particularly interesting given Moebius's past. As Balanced Guardian, Kain was the first member of the Circle in centuries to receive the dark gift of vampirism. Moebius must have seen a bit of himself in Kain. To Moebius, the vampire embodied the metaphorical road not taken. Kain represented all that Moebius had forsaken years ago. In this sense, it is understandable why Moebius would have held such resentment towards the vampire, who was not only responsible for killing him, but also being the one to remind him of the original destiny he rejected. Further layers of intrigue are added to Moebius' character in Soul Reaver 2, where he is given much more emphasis. When our second protagonist, Raziel, plunges back through time in pursuit of Kain, he finds the Time Streamer waiting for him. Here, we learn that Moebius had plans in place for Kain and Raziel that transcended his death. Raziel knows Moebius only by reputation at this point, and while he's distrustful of the old man's intentions, he nevertheless brokers a fragile alliance with him in order to hunt down and destroy their common enemy, Kain.
Is this the vampire Vorador?
Yes. The scourge of the Circle, the most depraved and decadent example of his whole degenerate race. He slaughtered 6 of my fellow Guardians as they cowered defenseless in this room.
And you somehow survived this massacre?
I and 2 others. The Circle was devastated. Only we 3 were spared.
How convenient. You'll forgive me if I don't naively devour every scrap of information you toss me. You have a reputation for deceit.
And who has slandered me, sir? Your malefactor, Kain? The one who betrayed and destroyed you? Our common enemy? Consider the source before you judge me too harshly.
The way Moebius is written here is excellent, because the writers have succeeded in creating an air of mystery and ambiguity around him. By posing as an old, fragile man, Raziel and the audience are lured into a false sense of security. Raziel underestimates Moebius, and so in turn do we. This is particularly the case for many of us who had only played Soul Reaver without playing the original Blood Omen. Many first-time players don't know what kind of manipulative bastard this man really is. All we have to go on is the word of a tyrant who threw Raziel into the abyss without a flicker of remorse, turning him into the ghoul we see here. Why should we value Kain's testimony above Moebius's after Kain had treated Raziel so poorly? And this level of doubt is exactly what Moebius is counting on. His prowess for manipulating others is all the more impressive given that his omniscience doesn't work on Raziel, who is immune to fate. Moebius can see forward and backward in time, so he generally knows what the outcome will be, including moments when the timeline changes. Raziel is the one exception, of course, whose future he cannot see. He can see the ripples in time from Raziel's potential actions, but that future is liable to change at any moment. So all he can do is manipulate Raziel into making the choice he wants him to take, and hope he falls for it. And Raziel does fall for it. Again, and again, and again, and yeah, again. His ability to play Raziel is a real testament to Moebius's more conventional means of manipulation. He is able to fool Raziel even though Raziel knows he's untrustworthy. Moebius is incredibly cunning. Perhaps the best example of this is when he prioritizes Raziel's capture over the lives of his fellow Guardians. During this scene, we learn that Moebius had played a long con by propelling Raziel into the distant future, making him think that he didn't want him to meet the ancient vampire Janos Audron in the past, when in fact he wanted to deepen Raziel's resolve to find him. Raziel led the Seraphim forces right to Janos' doorstep, just as Moebius had intended. And what's worse, he was the one all along that delayed Malik from reaching the other Guardians in time to save them, which is a brilliant callback to the very first cutscene in the series, and adds so much to the existing lore.
Lord Moebius, there is trouble within. The Circle is under attack.
Hold fast, Malik. This one is the real danger to us.
It's a fantastic scene because it really shows how dangerous Moebius is, and what a right bastard he can be. Moebius allowed the others to be slaughtered by Vorador. We're not given a clear reason why, but in my headcanon, I like to think it's because the others were plotting to get rid of the Time Streamer, and Moebius, being the crafty person he is, outplayed them. This is all theory and speculation, and it could well be that he just did not care about their lives, as he knew new Guardians would be called. Nevertheless, in a single stroke, Moebius orchestrated the death of the last surviving Ancient, as well as 6 fellow members of the Circle of Nine, and if he had his way, Raziel's soul would also be held captive in the Reaver blade, if not for Kain's timely intervention. Moebius' zealotry and fatalistic mentality is what makes him complex and gripping, and even today, 23 years after the first game came out, people are still debating his character. Was his mind tainted by Nutraptor's magic, despite the fact that he's always been cold, calculating and deceitful? Perhaps his omniscience is what led his mind to be corrupted, even before Nutraptor's psychic attack poisoned the circle with madness. At each point we see Moebius, was he travelling between time periods? Or does his foresight allow him to be acutely aware of how each encounter will play out, despite meeting Kain and Raziel out of chronological order? These are thought-provoking questions, which we may never get clear-cut answers to. Still, characters like Moebius, who maintain some air of mystery, even after their respective series have come to an end, are great to talk about. Please comment below if you would like to add to the discussion, and if you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and allow me to finish by leaving you all with a few wise words from our treacherous sorcerer.
Try to keep the casualties to a minimum, but do what you have to do. All great movements require a few martyrs.